Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Mount & Blade Warband and our 10th anniversary series. Now, I just want to say something real quick because I did receive a comment on the previous video and I thought that was actually pretty funny, so I thought I might share it with you if you didn't see it. Basically, it was someone saying that I should learn how to siege. Yeah, me. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, alright? I'm going to level with you right now. I am not the best player of this game ever, right? I'm not the best at all. I think I'm okay. You know, not too bad. However, I kind of know how to play the game, kind of. Yeah. As I say, I don't think I'm the best, but quote-unquote learning how to siege, I don't know. I think you know what? I might actually show you how I can properly siege, because obviously in the previous episode we had to deal with probably one of the most annoying, most tilting castles that we've so far seen in this series, and I'm actually going to be accepting a whole bunch of vassals that have left the Nords to start this episode off, and hopefully they're going to actually help us out in our war against the RHODOKS, because they've actually declared war against us, and I obviously want to make sure that we have as much strength as possible going into battles. Now, here's the thing. Another thing on the whole, you know, besieging thing. Here's the thing. I really do not like siege towers at all, and generally, I actually found it quite amusing, because obviously I replied with, well, I don't really know how to siege. I've never besieged a castle ever before. I was obviously being a bit funny because, well, I played the game for 8 years and I kind of know, and I've conquered the entirety of the map many times over in a variety of mods and all that stuff. Anyway, and then someone replies to that and goes, yeah, so this is how you actually siege properly. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, well, all right, thanks for that. Even though this kind of stuff, all right, okay, this is basically what they said, which is make all of your two-handed units under one tag, all right, under one control tag, and then have those run around with you towards the archers. And I thought to myself, okay, yeah, sure, that can actually work. Yeah, absolutely, that can definitely work. However, you got to think about the fact that these two-handed units are going to be really good at clearing the area of defenders. For example, if they have bardishas or two-handed axes, they're going to be so much better at the front line dealing with those infantry, instead of running at the archers who can then shoot them in the face because they don't have shields. Just a thought, I don't know. But yeah, anyway, I don't know how to siege, as you can quite clearly tell. I haven't taken anything at all, and I certainly didn't create a faction really quickly in this particular series either. So I certainly don't know how to. Which again, I'm mostly joking about this whole thing, really, because to be fair, I am, as I say again, I'm not the best. I am certainly not the best, and I am certainly not utilizing min-maxing strategies most of the time either, because I kind of want to have fun. It's a bit weird, right? Yeah, a bit weird that I want to have fun. But yeah, obviously, siege towers are my bane. I absolutely loathe them, I really do, and that's exactly the reason why we're actually going to continue speccing into engineering. I was actually thinking of leaving engineering the way it was, down at about 5 or maybe even 6 points in it, but as it stands right now, I think it's probably going to be a good idea for me to spec as many points as I can handle into that. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to focus wholeheartedly on increasing intelligence. I think the increase in intelligence in general is actually going to make a pretty significant difference to a variety of skills. So, and especially the skills that we actually want to focus on, for example, surgery, engineering, and trainer. Trainer is obviously going to come in mighty handy as we go forward here. But yeah, as you can quite clearly tell, we're now in a battle against some RHODOKS, and this is probably going to be one of the, shall we say, most anticlimactic battles that we're ever going to have, or shall we say wars that we are ever going to have against any faction in the game, with the exception of the Nords, of course, although the Nords did actually put up a pretty good fight. I'm going to give them props for that. They actually did a wonderful job of defending against us. And surprisingly, they were able to hold out quite a lengthy amount of time. But obviously, I did make some mistakes. As I said before, I'm not the best at this, so obviously, you know, there are things that are going to happen. I am a person, I am a human, and I'm not playing, you know, I'm not an AI on the insane setting where I get unfair advantages in every single respect. But yeah, that kind of thing. It just happens sometimes, you know. Anyway, yeah, okay, so this guy actually doesn't like us, as you can see. I mean, he's got a bad personality, so I'm going to be taking him prisoner. Unfortunately, I am not going to be able to take anyone else, because we're obviously only in a battle against this one fellow. So we're going to continue chasing after these guys. As you can see, Lord Nelag is running around with 160 units. I'm actually super surprised to see that. That is really, really good, though. And look at how much money we're making right now as well. Look at how much money we're making. 16,000 every single week. Gotta say, really, really pleased about that. And we're now going to go into a battle once again. Now, this is obviously going to be a 1 versus 3 battle. So this is me against 3 vassals. This is going to be maybe a little bit more difficult, but from what I can tell, I'm not entirely sure why this is happening. It could be that the RHODOKS are, you know, kind of on the back foot a little bit here. Maybe they are, you know, currently recovering from some other war that they've been participating in or something like that. But as it stands right now, I am not seeing them run around with very strong units. Maybe they have taken some significant losses, you know, somewhere else. I don't know, maybe they were at war against the Saranids or against the Swadians or something like that. I think they actually made peace very recently with the Vagirs, so it could be that they were at war against them. But yeah, they're going to do some really weird stuff now, because obviously they do have wonderful polearms, and their polearms are very easily going to be able to cut through my mounted units, and that's, oh, that is going to be a big problem. That is going to be a super, super big problem, which is actually really funny, to be honest, because I actually said in the previous episode, you know, the best faction for us to attack next would not be the Vagirs, because obviously I was actually wanting to attack the Vagirs next because of proximity. But the best faction, technically, if you want to make things a little bit easier for you later on in the late game, the next one after the Nords is the RHODOKS, because obviously you want to make sure that they don't gain a massive amount of RHODOK sharpshooters in their garrisons. You really do not want to have a huge amount of those waiting for you at the very end. And trust me, I've been there. I have been there. In my other series, and I'm talking about the 5-year anniversary series of Warband, by the way, we took 97 episodes to conquer the entirety of Calradia. Obviously, I've you know, refined strategies, and I'm using slightly different units and slightly different ways of thinking, and so on and so forth. So obviously, we are progressing at a much faster rate than we were before. But think about this. In that series, I left the RHODOKS until last, and I actually took a bit of a break in the sort of later parts of the series from it, because it was so incredibly difficult, and I needed to just step away from it for a little bit and then come back to it at a later time. And that really, that just says volumes about why you really kind of want to eliminate the RHODOKS a little earlier on in your campaign to achieve global domination over the realm. Because the RHODOKS, as I say, with their sharpshooters, they are going to be so incredibly annoying. They really are. And it's a good idea to try and get them out the way quite fast. Anyway, here we go. There's basically no loot for me to take right here. I don't really care about it too much. And we're just going to be pursuing the last fellow here. Hopefully I'm going to be able to do that. I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough speed. Yeah, here you go. This is exactly what I was waiting for as well. In my off-screen time, I was basically just riding around, recruiting some Swadians, as I said I would do in the previous episode, and I wanted to try and eliminate a couple of Sea Raider parties. And hilariously enough, I actually came across a Sea Raider party that had 49 units inside it. And then I also had them bring friends. So I was in a battle against 90-something Sea Raiders. Yeah, who would have thought that, right? Who would have thought that? Pretty crazy. And we were able to get some pretty decent experience from that. Not giving me a massive amount. So in other words, you know, we got a good amount, but it wasn't enough to really get us all the way to a huge array of Swadian knights. You know, we do have a good amount of them. I think we have 5 or 6 or something like that. I mean, it depends on your definition of a good amount, really, because obviously a good amount for me would be 60, but that is highly unlikely at this point, as we have you know, just started to try and recover from our defeat in a previous episode. So obviously that's a thing, but that actually, in my opinion, those kinds of setbacks actually provide more color, more flavor to the series as a whole. And I'm not talking about, you know, doing that all the time, because that would be kind of annoying, you know, it would be a little bit frustrating for you and for me. But it's the journey that I feel is highlighted just that much more. Your successes are highlighted that much more as a result of your failures. And I'm not saying your failure specifically, I'm talking about my failure or someone's failure, you know what I mean? So that actually makes more of a difference. So for example, me being defeated right there, that doesn't really make that much difference, because it then just highlights the fact that we have now risen up. We are now just that much stronger. We are that much wiser. Yeah, good luck. Yeah, I'm not that much wiser at all, but the fact is, those are the kinds of things I'm talking about. When it comes to being defeated or something like that, that's the way that I usually think about defeat. I don't think about it as a way to be like, oh yeah, I failed really hard here, I'm gonna wallow in self-pity as much as I possibly can, because that's just not very helpful to anyone, you know. It doesn't really do much for me. It just makes it so that I, you know, I just continually wallow and I'm not getting anything done. And so the best thing for me to do, you know what that is? Yeah, recruit some units, level them up, take revenge upon the enemies that defeated us before, and progress onward. And that is exactly, you know, what we want to do. And that obviously makes the entire journey that we are going through together, by the way, you're along for the journey here, just that much richer. And I could not have it any other way. Although, to be fair, I think in general, if you are going to be someone that is really, really good at, for example, besieging, if you're really good at besieging and you win every single siege and there are no problems whatsoever, I'm not sure if that is going to get a little bit tiring in itself, because yeah, that's great. You know, that's great if you're perfect in every single way and you can win every single engagement that you have ever attempted to win. That's fine. That's fine if you want to do that. But for me personally, I feel like that would be a bit monotonous. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Anyway, I would love to be able to take Valuka, but I'm not entirely sure if I can actually do that. So I'm going to... Oh, wow. This is... See, now this is exactly what I'm talking about. These are the kinds of situations where I really want to have some vassals joining me. So I'm actually going to call for a campaign. Hopefully some people are going to come and help me. And in the meantime, I'm going to hunt down some vassals. There we go. The Nords have been eliminated as well. We just received the official message. So I'm very, very pleased about that. That means I can now actually use their units going forward, which is going to be even better. So I'm really, really nice. Really, really happy about that, actually. And we are hopefully... I'm hoping that Nelag is going to come along. If Nelag comes along, I'm going to be really pleased. Ooh. Shall we just try? Shall we just try and take it? It's going to take 4 hours to build the ladders? Yeah, sure. Okay, fine. Let's try it out. I'm not really holding out much hope for this, to be honest. I think... Oh, okay, it's this one. Okay, I'm not a big fan of this one. This is a really, really harsh one in my opinion. This is not really going to help us out too much. Okay, yeah, so obviously, here's the thing. I used to do this whole thing where I would have archers hold position back, you know, underneath the walls, because I know someone else commented about that as well, where it's just, you know, a thing that I actually used to do in Warband, but obviously it's been a long time. It's been years since I played Warband, so you got to bear that in mind as well, where I'm actually a bit rusty, as I said at the beginning of this series, actually. But I am a bit rusty about those strategies and things like that. So whenever someone mentions that, it's a good reminder. Thank you for reminding me about it. However, the problem that I'm now facing is that we just don't have that many archers. As I said before, if you're going to be playing a mod like Pendor or something like that, you're going to have a whale of a time with the myriad of archer options that you're going to have. It's just going to be incredibly good. Now, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to have to retreat. Yeah, I'm going to just jump off here. I'm just going to jump off because I want to retreat as fast as possible. There is nothing I can do about this. Absolutely nothing I can do about this. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. These crossbowmen are amazing. The best thing that I can do in this kind of situation is just wait. Yeah, just wait. And I know that may seem counterintuitive or whatever, but generally it's a good idea to wait around and to just hope that maybe some of your vassals turn up to help you out. Maybe an enemy faction decides to attack the person that you're attacking at the same time. Those kinds of things are really going to make a huge difference to the whole deal. Because obviously me going in here against Grunwalder Castle, this is an absolutely incredibly good layout for the opponent. I mean, you can see that, right? I mean, you can obviously see that, right? Because there are two overlooking areas. The archers have a clear line of sight to where you are going to be ascending up the ladder. And in doing so, they basically just shred you to pieces. They will absolutely shred you to pieces. And because of the way that obviously sieges work in Warband, they're very, well, they're very harsh sometimes. Dependent on the layout, of course, they are very harsh. And that's actually why I was talking about that in my Land of Seekers series. I don't know whether you watched that either, but if you don't, then, well, basically the gist of it was the amount of options that you gain from playing Bannerlord are extremely nice. And that is actually one of the reasons why I would say that late game Bannerlord is slightly ahead of Warband when it comes to enjoyment or satisfaction, satisfaction level, because that's one of the weakest things about Warband, in my opinion. The siege mechanics. The siege mechanics are really, really annoying at times, because obviously, as I showed in the previous episode, we were defeated because we had to deal with the siege tower. I was consistently shot from some random place. I got eliminated one time, or twice. I'm actually not entirely sure how many now. But eventually we were able to overcome, and we actually, achieved victory against that absolutely awful place. And that's the point. In those kinds of situations, it's very much the siege mechanics letting down the game. And for me personally, it's one of those things. It's one of those things where you just have to kind of go through it, because as I said, I don't have enough archers really to station archers outside the walls to pepper the enemy's defenders, to try and thin out the enemy presence there. I mean, if I did, that would be great, but usually I'm not going to have that many of them. I'm going to have maybe, I don't know, a maximum of 10 or 15, if that much, on the field. And that's really going to make a big difference. That's going to make a big difference, absolutely. However, if there are 20 or more enemy archers on the walls, again, they're just going to shred your own forces to pieces, most of the time at least. And so that's the reason why in those situations, for me personally, if I was playing in my own time, I probably would have just left Horus Castle alone. I wouldn't have bothered with it, to be honest. I would have literally just been like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to leave that. It's going to get taken at some point in the future. And maybe when I'm a little bit stronger with my units, maybe a little bit better geared. Speaking of that, someone actually said I should upgrade my armor Not sure if I can get anything better than this. It's got 52 to body armor, 16 to leg armor. I mean, yeah, there is definitely something better out there, but not sure where I could get it. I might actually just stop over in the nearby Swadian town. We have defeated another RHODOK vassal. As I say, the best thing that we can do right now is probably to just deal damage to the RHODOK vassals. Just try and weaken them up significantly enough so that we can then move in with my own forces. I'm talking about when my vassals actually decide to come and help me, of course. And then we can just sweep over the land with a campaign, you know, with the campaign that's actually going to be working. Because let's face it, if it's not working, then, well, then we're very sad indeed, you know. That would, yeah, that would not be too good. But the point is, once we have that going, then they basically can't do much, because then they have to deal with the fact that they have very low tier units. I mean, you can see here, look at these units right now that this fellow is currently fielding. He basically doesn't have that much at all. He's just got numbers. That's pretty much it. He's just got numbers. He does have some pretty decent spearmen, but the spearmen are obviously not that amazing. I mean, of course, they are going to be able to stop our forces, but they probably won't be able to kill them. At least I hope not. But that's indeed one of the main issues with fighting the RHODOKs with a primarily cavalry-based army. Of course, it's also a bit of a problem to deal with the RHODOKs with a Nord-based infantry army as well, because then, you know, the crossbowmen tear you apart instead of the spearmen. But personally, I feel like it's a little better to go with cavalry focus, because then you can indeed eliminate those pesky crossbowmen as much as you like, in comparison to being a very slow-moving turtle force. Because if you're a turtle, then obviously it's not too bad. You're not going to sustain too many casualties, but you're also going to be a little bit lower on the offensive scale. Whereas if you have, you know, like I do right here, if you have a bunch of Swadian knights and mercenary cavalry, and I even have some sword sisters as well, by the way, all those units are basically going to be making absolute mincemeat out of any crossbowman, as long as they are not being guarded by those spearmen, because of course those spearmen are actually they're pretty effective. Anyway, that fellow managed to escape, unfortunately. I'm just going to take a couple of other things here. These pieces of loot are not even worth me taking at this point, I don't think, because we're just making so much money anyway. Just from 2 towns? Just from 2 towns and 1 enterprise? I'm actually really surprised that we're making so much. But anyway, I'm just going to sell a bunch of stuff, and then we're going to take a look and see exactly why I said that we have pretty good armor. Because I think this was in a comment, and I replied and I said, you know, we have pretty decent armor. I feel like we have pretty decent armor. I mean, I think there's definitely better out there. I think there's definitely something with, I think 56. I think 56 or 58 might be the highest body armor that you can get. But obviously, as you can see right here, Uxkhal doesn't have anything for us. Maybe we should go over to Suno and take a look there. And in the meantime, maybe some of our vassals can come over and actually join us finally. No, there is actually nothing here. I could get some better boots. Let's buy some better boots. Why not? Let's buy some better boots. That sounds good. And we could also buy some better gloves, but I don't really see the point in that. I don't really want to spend 7,000 gold for +2 to body armor. I personally don't think that really makes any sense whatsoever, but I don't know. Maybe you want to do that. I don't know. Personally, for me, I won't be doing that right now. Katrine is here. I think I'm going to be... no. There we go. Join. Thank you very much. I actually made a mistake by misclicking right there. But yeah, let's just get the mercenary swordsmen. They do become hired blades eventually, which is actually quite nice too. And Katrine is going to... Wait a minute. Did we already... Oh, we already got her. Okay, well, there you go. We can just tell her to go away now. Okay, terribly sorry, Katrine. Don't mean to mess you around. And there we have it. Okay, so yeah, let's just get Jeremus down to the base level there. Borcha has actually advanced in level again, so let's get him another point in intelligence. Let's actually get him some more... Should we get him some more tracking? I don't really want to get him tracking. Let's get him trainer skill. Let's get him trainer skill. Why not? I mean, eventually he's going to be getting a relatively high level, or at least I can only hope he will get a relatively high level, and then trainer skill is going to be pretty useful for us. Let's continue to go into the taverns here. I'm going to get some more mercenary cavalry. Let's take a look at the armor. Aha, here we go. All right, so this is pretty nice. This is some nice armor right there. I think I'm probably going to buy this. It's 26,000. And we also have some thick gauntlets here that are a little bit cheaper than the previous ones. And they also give me +2 to body armor. So I'm going to be buying this. This is really expensive. Really expensive, but kind of necessary, I suppose. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And then we'll just buy some food and then move on. There we go. Okay, so Borcha's actually got some pretty decent gear. Jeremus has some pretty decent gear too, but I'm actually wondering whether I want to give him some gauntlets at least. Let's give him this. Yeah. There we go. There we go. This is much better for him. Jeremus can hopefully survive a little bit better this time as well. And there we have it. Okay, that's actually pretty nice. So yeah, thank you very much for basically just reminding me that it would maybe be an idea to upgrade my armor, even though it is a little bit of a minor upgrade. It's not amazing. It's not really gonna save my life in a situation like we had in that siege just now, where, you know, still probably gonna die as a result of just getting absolutely shot to pieces. But it's still nice to have something that is a little bit more protective. You never know. Maybe we're going to get some glancing blows or something like that, so it's going to be a little easier. Anyway, there is a forest bandit hideout here. Might be an idea to actually tackle a couple of forest bandit parties, but I think the best way for us to get experience right now is to fight some RHODOKS, and that is exactly what we're going to try to do. So if I can actually just eliminate a couple more. Look at Wurchek. Wurchek is now rich. Very rich prosperity correction. Wow, very rich prosperity. That's actually pretty incredible. And yeah, we now have some more Swadian recruits as well, so hopefully they're going to level up. Oh, hello there, Count Matthias. Okay, yeah, so we're actually going to be attacking him in just a second. He is attempting to get into the town, but we will not allow him to do something like that. Thank you very much. And now we're looking pretty professional. Look at that. We're looking pretty professional with our plate armor. Yes, I like it. All right, yeah, we're looking pretty nice. And I'm actually wondering, you know what? I'm not going to charge in right now. I'm actually just going to tell my people to hold position right here, just so that they can spread out a little bit. As soon as you tell people to hold position, they're going to spread out automatically in a wonderful formation. And then, you know, if you've got cavalry, things are going to get devastating. And we're just going to charge straight on into them. I don't think they can really do much against us. And actually, I'm just going to charge in myself too, because generally, even if I do get stopped, even if my mount does get killed, at least I will be attacked instead of one of my own units. And let's face it, I feel like my own units are probably going to be a little bit more useful than myself. So that's going to be kind of good. I mean, you can see there I did eliminate a RHODOK sharpshooter, but I'm not really being that useful otherwise, because the enemy is just completely scattered all over the place. It's kind of difficult to be accurate in that way, but they are now appearing over here. I just need to make sure to keep on top of them, make sure that we are not allowing their crossbowmen any spare opportunity to shoot at us. These guys really don't have any HP whatsoever. As far as I'm aware, they have about 50 HP. Yeah, it seems like that. And they are super easy to eliminate. That's one thing that I actually do appreciate about Warband. Every single enemy has around the same HP that you do, and generally, in the native version at least, you're not really going to be finding an enemy that is so incredibly difficult that you can't do any damage to it whatsoever. There are, well, shall we say, there are some very specific examples that I can think of that really make it extremely necessary for you to get something that does piercing or blunt damage in certain mods, because otherwise you're just not going to be able to penetrate the high armor values of some of the enemy units. Anyway, there's actually a crossbow here. This is kind of useful, because as you can see, it actually has some pretty decent damage to it. It's got great accuracy, and we can actually use it because it only requires 8 strength. And speaking of that, maybe it would be a good idea for me to get a siege crossbow. Like I said before, it might be an idea to see what the strength requirement is on that thing, because I think it's 15, but I could be misremembering. It might be 18. Not entirely sure, but what I am going to do is I'm going to wait for Lord Olaf to appear. Aha, hello there. There seems to be another vassal coming up at us right here, so we're going to do some damage with Lord Olaf in tow. Very nice. 228 against his 143. This guy actually really likes us, as you can tell. I don't even know what I've done. What have I done to actually make it so that these fellows like me? Because I don't think I've really fought them that much and then released them. I don't think I have helped many of their villages or anything like that. Ow. Yeah, this guy's taking a much more defensive position right here, and this is making things very difficult for us. Maybe not. Yeah, as you can see, yep. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. That is exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. When you go into a siege, and all you have to welcome you is a hail of RHODOK crossbow bolts. Oh my, that gives one a very real reason for nightmares right there. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that grinds my gears. It definitely grinds my gears. It reminds me of that 5th anniversary series. When I was doing that and I was fighting the RHODOKs, it was... it was difficult. Very, very difficult. Because they had, I think... What did they have now? I think they had like, what, 40 or maybe 50 sharpshooters in every single fief? And, I mean, imagine it. You know, imagine I'm doing a siege tower. And I have to literally have my forces move this extremely slow-moving object to the walls. And all the while, they are being shot by the best crossbowmen in the game. Ooh, that was harsh. Because let's face it, the sharpshooters, the RHODOK sharpshooters, do come equipped with siege crossbows, as far as I'm aware. And they do so much damage. It is actually immense. As far as I'm aware, they do come equipped with those, right? Yeah, I think they do. Well, whatever the case, they come equipped with something that does massive damage anyway. And I hate it when that happens. Oh, I hate it when that happens. Yeah, that's really annoying. Anyway, this is actually a good time to demonstrate the auto-resolve issues that native Warband tends to have. So I'm just going to tell my forces to attack, and yeah, look at this. An absolutely awful event where we just ended up losing a Swadian Knight, a Hired Blade, and a Swadian Man-at-Arms among the high-tier units. And look what we eliminated. Basically nothing. Nothing of any note, really. But we ended up losing so many units because the auto-resolve calculation is really bad. It is really, really bad. Anyway... yeah, I think we're pretty much done here, and I'm just gonna take a couple of pieces of loot, even though the loot is really not very worth it for me at the moment. And I'm wondering whether... Oh, hello. Yeah, I was just about to say, I was wondering where he was. There is King Graveth himself. How many sharpshooters does he have? He only has 2. He only has 2 sharpshooters. Okay. I think we can probably defeat this guy. I'm a bit worried about it. I do have 24 Swadian Knights. I would never have guessed. Okay, that's pretty nice. Yeah, we're going to obviously be fighting this fellow, but for now, I will be ending this episode off here. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.